Avengers Endgame is the biggest box office opening of all time, guys. Holy crap, we gotta break this down, and I wanna talk about what is next for the MCU.
It's like the news, but for nerds. Subscribe so you never miss an episode.
Today's shout out goes to Blair Green. Indeed, Pepper Potts was talking about composting in that one really important scene. We'll do another nerd card question at the end of this video. What's up, everybody? Happy Monday to you. I'm, of course, Josh. This is the Den of Nerds, and whoa, what a week it was last week. Between Avengers Endgame and the Battle for Winterfell, which happened last night, I'm exhausted. I am taxed emotionally. It was absolute craziness. So let's talk some Endgame, but before we get into the numbers of the box office, I do want to remind everybody we are doing a live stream tonight, another edition of the Fan Chats Live coming at you tonight, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, breaking down the Avengers Endgame spoilers. Guys, we speculated a lot about different ways that the Avengers Endgame opening could go as far as a box office, but I did not in my wildest dreams think that it was going to get this big. Avengers Endgame broke almost every single record that it could have broken. Top openings in China, top openings in Brazil, top opening domestically with $350 million, top total international opening at $866 million, and a grand total of $1.2 billion. I mean, Marvel put a trailer out there to sort of like show how crazy this is, and they're teasing even more and more of stuff from the film. They're really trying to get people to go check it out. This box office was crazy, so let's talk about this. Let's break down what happened. Couple of different things. First of all, right away, people were saying that the 3-hour runtime might actually hurt the initial box office opening for Avengers Endgame. I mean, worldwide, it's crazy. This is different in different marketplaces. So like people in India, they're used to really long movies. I'm not sure what the Chinese marketplace is. I know for Americans, we're really not used to movies being that long. Theaters like to have 2-hour, 2.5-hour movie time so that they can crank out more show times, get more people into the theaters. The 3-hour runtime did not seem to deter people at all. Tons of people showed up for this. All kinds of people and all sorts of different show times, early, late, whenever they could get it in. I will also say I think that the box office was helped by the fact that people knew there was gonna be so many crazy spoilers. The fact that we knew we were getting so many things concluded pushed people to go out to see it early. They didn't want to be spoiled. They wanted to experience it for themselves. Check it out as soon as possible so they can talk about it, be a part of the conversation. In the truest sense, this was a phenomenon. It's more of a media phenomenon than it is actually a movie. I mean, there's so much going into it. I just can't believe this kind of an opening, beyond my wildest dreams. I mean, this film has been out for 1 weekend, guys. 6 days or something like that, and it is already in the top 20 grossing films of all time. Now, the next thing we got to talk about is what does this mean? How will the film have as far as legs? Is it going to catch those Cameron movies, right? Are we going to be seeing this thing popping up into the $3 billion range? I believe 2.6 and 2.8 or maybe 3.1 are the top 2 Cameron movies. Man, how much money did Avatar make? Where's my phone at? Now, what's interesting is it's a totally different experience than what happened with those James Cameron movies. Now, Titanic opened really big, but it sort of just kept making money. It had a very low percentage drop off and it had a really long life in the theaters. And it's the same thing for Avatar. Avatar did not open that big at all, even though I believe it broke a record in December at the time, but it just kept making more and more money. Like people just kept going to see that movie. Now, what's interesting is if I think about the comparisons here, Avatar was sold as more of an experience. It was the first pushing the limits 3D movie. It's the first movie that James Cameron had sort of been back as director for. So they really sold that as an experience. Endgame is equally as an experience, or at least being sold as one. It's not so much a film. So I think it's gonna have major legs. If this thing has a 70% drop off, you're still looking at like $800 million. You're passing $2 billion in 2 weekends. And then if it straggles on for 4 to 6 weeks, making, you know, even 50, 60, 70 million a piece each weekend, you could see this movie cracking into the top 3, maybe even being the biggest grossing film of all time. But until we get closer to next weekend, we're gonna have to just kind of guess and kind of think about what might happen, but we will definitely keep an eye on that. And let me know in the comment section, what do you guys think about that? Do you think that Endgame is going to catch Titanic and Avatar, or do you think no way, no how? Let me know in the comments. All right, now let's talk about what's next for the MCU. And I do want to issue a slight spoiler warning. If you haven't seen Endgame, you might want to sort of check out now. I'm not going to give any hard spoilers, but I do want to talk about a few things because I've been getting a lot of messages from people and a lot of comments on videos and things on Instagram and Twitter. People are they're excited about what just happened, but the build up to Endgame and just our attachment to all of these movies that we've been seeing, it feels like we're in this weird spot. And a lot of people have been reaching out to me personally and saying, how are we gonna keep this going? You know, how is the channel going to keep, you know, content cranking out? What can we look forward to now? You know, Spider-Man's coming out, Star Wars is a long way away, and I know not everybody's into Star Wars. So what I will say is, I think it's going to sink in rather quickly for us all that Endgame is wrapping up of the Infinity Saga. It is a perfect kind of end note to the Infinity Saga. But I'm so curious, and I think we all are so curious about what happens next. What does the world look like now? How are the Avengers going to be put together now? Is Nick Fury going to be taking a bigger role? How is planet Earth going to deal with all of the things that happened in Infinity War and Endgame? I mean, it's been absolute craziness. How are they all going to cope? What happens next? And there's no post-credit scene to Avengers Endgame, but Spider-Man Far From Home feels like the post-credit scene. We're gonna get explanations about what is going on with the 5-year gap. Some people are older now, maybe they're out of high school, maybe they go back and they're just way older. You know, how many heroes are left? What do heroes think about the sacrifices that were made? There's so much cool stuff. So Spider-Man Far From Home is going to be our first look at what we might expect of the MCU going forward. And so I'm thinking that's gonna be very, very hype. We're speculating a lot about that, get very excited for that. And not to mention, guys, there's so much cool stuff coming to Disney Plus, Marvel stuff. I mean, you know, Sam Wilson and the Winter Soldier, that show is gonna be really dope. Scarlet Witch and Vision in the 1950s, I'm excited to see that. So guys, there's so much stuff to get hyped for. I think in general, it's okay to take a couple moments and reflect and be sad and sort of just think about what just happened, what we experienced in these 10 years. But I'm just as excited for what happens next. And I think that's going to be enough to keep us going. So I just wanted to say that to everyone that's kind of bummed and been thinking about what's next. I mean, I think there's a lot coming. We have the Fantastic Four, we have the X-Men now. Guys, this party's just getting started, so I wouldn't get bummed about it. All right, let's check the nerd card before we get out of here. I want to know, what is the name of Black Widow's father? This is kind of new information to us, but the question remains, what is the name of Black Widow's father? Answer that question in the comments section below. One more reminder, tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're doing a fan chat live talking about all the spoilers from Avengers Endgame. Come on by, let's talk about these spoilers together. And that's going to do it for this one. As I always say, I hope you're having an awesome and a nerdy day, and I'll see you in the next video.